only came here as a spectator, so because my curiosity about the endorsement has been raised a bit. I mean, all the things I've said to you before in front of the City Council, the things I've said for 16 years about the need for a facility, all the work that's gone into it since 2003, with support from the Capital Improvements Project to do the needs assessment, the organizational and structural needs assessment, the approval later in City Council of funding in excess of $1 million for the architectural drawings and all the work that's gone into that, and the expenditure of over $1 million so far into this project. As you know, just about 2 years ago, we were ready to break ground. We had utility companies lined up to start moving the overhead utilities so the construction firm could come in, but the economy tanked. The city got nervous about the long-term financial consequences if the economy continued to go in its downward spiral, which apparently does not seem to be the case. The fears that were then are not as dramatic as they are today. The city, the mayor, the finance director, the building committee, all in support of this project, saw their way through a funding mechanism which involved the debt exclusion override for a partial payment. The entire project is $17.6 million. $4 million of that is a parking structure. It's not all police station. $900,000 of it was relative to architecture improvements through public meetings with the Central Business Architecture Committee and the planning department to build a beautiful building. The original design was very austere and functional on the inside, but not very pretty on the outside. And we worked through that process and have designed what we think is a very beautiful building fitting in with the downtown architectural and still remains very functional within for our operations. If you've had the opportunity to look at our website and see some of the pictures of the interior, it's just simply deplorable. It's outdated. It's over 40 years old. We are struggling to function as a modern police agency with that building. And I mean, having said all that, there's been multiple, I've been really heartened in the last few weeks of some citizens and different groups who have come out to endorse this project to show their support. In fact, the Citizens Committee is meeting tonight to lobby and raise funds for citywide support of the vote yes on 4 question, which will be on your ballot to support the override. So it's not just a building for me, as some have said. It's the building for my police officers, my civilian staff. It's a building for the citizens that come in daily to do business there. It's a building for the victims that can't be separated from suspects that they've been victimized by. A building where witnesses can't be separated in any satisfactory manner from the suspects that we arrest. The problems of water infiltration, certainly exacerbated recently by rains. They're just very difficult, tight, problematic. Every day there's another problem with that building. And if that exclusion override doesn't go through, there's going to be several more millions of dollars that are going to have to be invested in this building just to keep us functioning, and it certainly won't help us become any more efficient or effective. So again, it's the long dream of mine, the biggest goal when I was appointed chief in 1994 that I wish to attain, and it still remains that to this day. And I hope the citizens do vote to endorse it, and I would hope that this committee would see their way through the common sense of endorsing this project. We're talking, latest figures are about, I think, $72 a year on the median property owner in Northampton, and that doesn't even take effect until 2014, as I understand it. And then as the debt is paid off over the 20-year borrowing period of time, that $72 a year actually decreases. And once that borrowing note is paid off, that tax burden on the taxpayers comes off. So it's time. It's just a shame that this couldn't have happened earlier. This could have happened 10 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever the history is. But nonetheless, we're here. We're now. The borrowing rates have never been better. The commodity rates for steel and concrete have never been better. Even though project is at 17.6 right now. That was the value of bid in 2009. I'm sorry, 2008 into 2009. And given some of the projects, the Putnam School in Springfield and the Wilbraham School, even though the cost controls for Putnam was about 122,000, it came in at 105. Wilbraham was 86, it came in at 65. We would expect, though not promising anything, that when we do rebid this project after the vote, it might have some cost savings in the overall project cost, which would help us partially to replace some of the cuts we already made during the fine-tuning of the project costs in 2008. Myself, Central Services, working with the architect and the construction manager, but the price under the CMAR, the construction manager at risk, is the cap. That's the top. There's no further risk to any taxpayer dollars under the new building construction process. The price that we agree to is the price that he can't exceed, and he has to absorb any cost overruns. So I think not only for my people, not only for the citizens, not only for the multiple tradespeople, the 180 full-time equivalent jobs that will be funded over the 18 to 20 months of construction. I know that we have support from all the trade unions, the carpenters, the IBEW and all that, that will be coming out publicly to support this project, because it means jobs for them, and it means people downtown, and it means people downtown that will be eating their lunches downtown and buying their coffee downtown, and will be supporting the businesses downtown. So, in my opinion, I can't find a reason not to support this, but I'm a little biased. But when you look at all the objective criteria, it still makes a lot of sense. So I can only implore that you folks, as the Public Safety Committee, under the ordinance that allows you to support and advocate on behalf of the public safety agencies, should certainly be taking a stand and saying it's time and it's now and let's move forward. Any questions?
Any questions for
One quick question, just as a timeline reminder. When was the committee formed? How long has it actually been? Because I'm trying to remember, has it been 3 years or 4 years? I know it's been a while.
Well, 2003 was the original capital improvements.
Okay.
$35,000 to form the, to fund the organizational needs and review the sites, potential sites and locations. And then kind of sat fallow 2006. There was some feeling that we could probably get this project going. So we revised it and updated all the data and statistics. They came to the same conclusion that the original group had, the architects and whatnot. That's the location and the common sense approach, that we're not taking taxpayer or taxable properties off the rolls. We remain in the downtown area as an anchor for the sense of safety and security, plus all the efficiencies that goes along with that for us. Operating downtown, so much walking business, so much of our calls are in that geographical area. And it was just probably in 2007 that the building committee, I think late 2006, early 2007, the mayor appointed a building committee that was formed, and we started to go through the process, deciding whether we do build and design or CMAR, the construction manager at risk, worked through that, interviewed all the people, all in public meetings, all totally open, properly advertised. We did our forum for the public about the different design alternatives. They weighed in on that. Some changes were made as a result of the public's input up at JFK. And then we went, and the blueprints still sit on my table in my office with a tear every day. I come in and look at them and go, oh, we're so close. So, I mean, we're all set to rock and roll with this once this gets voted. It'd be a really short turnaround period of time for the bidding and groundbreaking.
That's what I was going to ask you. If it passed in November, when would construction start?
The overall project manager and the construction manager at risk did a go on and bar all set to reissue the bid documents. We think because of what we have observed in the past 18 months, that it's a much more favorable market for the bidding, and those could be turned around in some of them are 45 days, some are 60, some are 90, depending.
And how soon after that?
It's all on the work schedule that would be the contractors that sign off on the bids. I'm certain that, I mean, some of the work that has to be done, again, part of the 17.6 million includes about $400,000 of street infrastructure. If you've read my stuff, it sounds like I'm always repeating because I've said this so many times, but rolled into that project are DPW projects that needed to be done. A storm sewer line that's 36 inches in brick and runs under buildings in downtown Northampton that's in danger of collapsing. If that doesn't get fixed, the city could be in much worse shape financially. And part of this project basically terminates that connection and improves it. And it's actually the stormwater drain from everything on the north side of Main Street runs into this one brick culvert that goes through downtown toward the Connecticut River. That'll be improved. So that's not like a police department thing, that's a public works thing. I mentioned the architectural improvements. Part of the utilities improvements for National Grid is consolidating a lot of the overhead lines into underground utilities and actually improving. They were not able to fully fund a downtown improvement project to improve the electrical grid for all the businesses. As you know, every business is more computers, more this, more that. There's a lot of electrical demand on an aging system. This project partially pays for that in partnership with National Grid, as well as Verizon improvements for phone service for the overhead lines. So it's not just all a $17.6 million police department, it's a $4 million parking garage, $900,000 architectural, $400,000 to $500,000 subsurface stuff, which could probably begin, to get to your question, weather permitting, very soon, early 2011. All that work underground in the roads has to be done before we can do everything else.
Any questions? No, you have any more? Oh,
I just want to thank the committee for putting up with my efforts to postpone this, because I just really wanted everyone, all four councilors to have a chance to be included on this discussion and get the opportunity to weigh in, so thank you.
go ahead. So,
Well, I appreciate that, and although last month I was not able to attend the meeting, I think it had been duly noted that it was not a regular meeting of our committee, and unfortunately I do rely very heavily on the schedules that come out at the beginning of the year to set my schedule, and I did have something that did not allow me and never would have made the meeting on time, so my apologies for not being able to make it, but it was not a regularly scheduled meeting that I had planned on, and it was less than a week in notice. So thank you, I appreciate you giving me a chance to weigh in on it.
so further discussion? No further discussion on the issue?
And will we have discussion on our vote?
Well, we have a motion that's been made and seconded. We've heard from Chief Sikowitz, and unless you have other questions or want to discuss anything further,
I don't have a discussion, I don't want to discuss the merits of this any further, although I do have to say that I do hear from both sides on this issue, and for that reason, because I don't think that I as a counselor want to take a stand on, there's people that are for it and people against it. As you well know, we have other issues that are before us that are very split. So for those reasons, I am going to abstain.
all right. If you have no other questions, then I will call for a vote on the matter. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
You abstain? I'm going to vote in favor, so the motion carries. Thank you all.